All right, so tax season is upon us, and residents across Northeast Ohio have a lot of questions when it comes to their property taxes. Joining us live in studio this morning to answer all of your questions is Cuyahoga County Treasurer Brad Cromis. And Brad, we know on average the property tax increase here was about 30%. So what were some of the factors that drove that percentage?
It was about 32% countywide, Mike, and the percentage was driven by a number of factors. The appraisers look at sales that are going on, they look at the general neighborhood conditions, and then the condition of the property itself. The state of Ohio requires the county every 6 years to look at every property in the county, and we had appraisers who went out and looked at every property and made that assessment, and that was part of the calculation. Okay,
so not everybody that saw a big increase is necessarily going to see that translated into a big bill.
That's right. So the 32% number is very scary, but the actual impact on the tax bill itself is mitigated by something called House Bill 920 that was passed in the 1970s. That holds the revenue generated by a levy down to the amount that it was generating when it was passed. So the practical upshot of that is most folks aren't seeing increases that are going to be quite that drastic. There is still an increase, though, and that's something that we're very much aware of and trying to help people through right now.
And we know property tax bills are starting to go out now. What are some things that you're hearing from people? What are some of the questions that you've been fielding?
Yeah, so the main question people have right now is, when am I getting my bills? So they're available online right now on the county's website. You can go out there and check those out. We have opportunities for people to pay online as well. We'll be mailing physical bills starting on Tuesday. And then the other questions folks are asking is, why is this increase happening? What do I do to respond to it? And what are my options going forward?
Okay, so we put a call out on social media asking our viewers to come up with some questions. And viewer Nick Hardy wanted us to ask, where does the extra revenue from these property tax increases go?
Well, I mentioned House Bill 920, right? So the extra revenue, quote unquote, from the increase is actually pretty minimal because of the adjustments that happen with that bill. But to the extent that there is that extra revenue that comes, it goes into the general fund of the local subdivisions. The vast majority of your property tax bill, usually 60 to 70%, flows to the school district.
Okay. And we know that the county has heard these concerns, right? There's a program in place that for people who are struggling, particularly seniors, those are on a fixed income, that there's a way that they can get some relief.
That's right. We really need action from the state of Ohio to help every senior in the state adjust with the homestead to get their tax bills reduced. But the county has responded locally with what we're calling the Taxpayer Assistance Program for folks who are over age 70, who make less than $70,000 a year, and who are already tax delinquent. So these are folks who are in the greatest risk of losing their property. We've stood up a program that can provide them up to $10,000 in one-time tax assistance relief, as well as housing counseling, to address whatever underlying issue there may be and get them on a sustainable path moving forward.
And that's great, because it's not just here we're going to give you some money to help offset this. We're going to actually help you get into a better position to be able to handle this in the future.
That's right. We really think that that's critical.
Yeah, awesome. Brad, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.